Okay, cool. We're going to get started with our last session of the day. We have a riveting talk for our last talk, something I'm super passionate about. The crowd is really going wild, so I'm super excited. Shinsi and Daniel here.
Yay! Woo!
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, all three people who are here today. We're so excited. Awesome. So today what we're going to talk about is how Drata closed more deals after adding over 30 product integrations. So this is a quick agenda. We're going to first talk about the challenge of product integrations, the solution, obviously Merge, outcomes from implementing Merge, and also how you can learn more. So for a quick introduction, I'm Shensi, co-founder and CEO at Merge. And Daniel, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey guys, Daniel Marashlian, one of the co-founders and CTO at Drata.
Awesome. And so the challenge of product integrations, this is one of my favorite things to talk about. So right now, increasingly, especially with the proliferation of AI, it's becoming more important to be able to get access to your customers' data. Being able to do so increases the value of your product. Right now, 34% of software buyers really prioritize this when it comes to other vendors' capabilities. They really care about the ability to integrate with other technology as a top factor, and this came from the 2024 Gartner Global Software Buying Trend Report. But the problem is that B2B SaaS companies are really struggling to build these integrations at scale. It's really, really difficult to build and maintain them long term. And so we asked over 100 companies across the globe, how many product integrations has your company built to date? And over 60% of B2B SaaS companies have only built fewer than 9 integrations. 90 would be incredible. It's really difficult to do this at scale, and even 9 is a lot. And so why is this so difficult? And it's because it demands painstaking effort and time from scoping to building to launching. We also asked over 100 companies, how long does it take to bring your integrations to market? And we got 70% of organizations said that it took over 3 weeks to bring a single integration to market. And especially with the number of integrations that your customers might be asking, this could potentially take years. But the problem is that it's not just the burden of building the integrations, it's really the long-term maintenance of them as well. So we also asked these 100 companies, what challenges specifically did your team run into? And these were the top 4 responses. We heard integrations breaking due to third-party changes. This happens a lot at Merge. We also heard that communicating errors and issues to those end users can often be very time-consuming as well. And then an integrated application can also oftentimes get discontinued. The API is no longer getting maintained. There's a lot of issues. There might not be a consistent community. All these can come up as big problems for maintaining those integrations. And then lastly, it's very difficult to keep up with different version changes that can often pop up. So I'm excited to talk about Drata, actually our first customer ever, and what they do with their integrations.
Yeah, hi everyone, thank you. So what Drata does, we're a continuous security and compliance platform. So in that effort, we collect all the information you need from all the systems that you use, and we pull them down into an organization, into a platform that organizes everything that you need for your audit, whether it's a SOC 2 report, or your ISO cert, GDPR, the acronyms are endless. In a very short time, we actually raised $100 million funding as a $1 billion valuation in our B round. That was maybe 2.5, 3 years ago. So that was about 10 months after launching the business. That's how fast we grew and how much the demand was in need for what we built. In that effort of what we need to do, we need to build integrations into cloud services, ticketing, developer tools, HRIS systems, device management, security training, vendor, version control, the list goes on. And so as we needed to go build more and more of these integrations, that, what did we say, over 50% have less than 9 integrations, we need to go build hundreds, if not eventual thousands. So we started building integrations like into AWS, into GitHub, and eventually we said, hey, we need to go get the source of information of an employment record, which is a lot of times in the HR system. If you're going to pay someone, that's probably where you're going to record that they work for you. So we started building. When we first launched the business 4 years ago, we were using Gusto, so we built Gusto out. Great. And then our customers said, hey, I start using Rippling. So I said, okay, let me go figure that out. Let's go talk to Rippling. And we built that. And the more and more I got into the HR space, I said, wait a second. There's a laundry list of HR services out there. Unlike some of the other integrations where there's maybe 3 players, the HR industry is very, very fragmented. So when I saw this list, it was very daunting. And I said, oh no, I need to maybe go see if there's any companies out there that are aggregating this information and making it easy for companies like myself. And introduce Merge.
I love that last slide. So yes, the solution, Merge. So what Merge offers is a single API that allows you to add hundreds of product integrations very, very quickly. We specifically help developers add integrations that are customer facing. This is not meant for internal use cases. And we help support for you for the entire lifecycle of integrations. It's not just about the initial build. We obviously help you do that in just weeks instead of quarters, but we also help you maintain those integrations. Every single time there's a new edge case, when something comes back as a string instead of an array, or something comes back as a number and is unexpected, we handle all of that so you don't have to. And it makes our integrations a lot stronger and more battle tested by the time you test our integrations for the first time versus building them in-house. And then lastly, we help with the integration observability. Previously, when Gil and I were at our previous companies and our integrations were all in-house, we had to use companies like Datadog and Sentry in order to monitor our integrations. And it was very difficult for non-technical customer success team members to see what was going on. And so with Merge, we make it all very easy and as non-technical as possible for a customer success team member to help manage and have full control of the integrations. And so with Merge, Drata was able to add dozens of ticketing and HRIS integrations in weeks. Cool. And I'll pass it back to Daniel to double click a little more.
Yeah, thank you. So as we built out those first integrations, maybe we had to talk to the partner like Gusto, like I was saying, work with their partnership team and get API credentials and build out the system. And that, while we had a really swift and nimble team, it took maybe a couple months, maybe a quarter, just to get everything out and live. And so as I saw that big list of 30 plus, I said there's no way we're going to be able to keep this innovation pace that we need. So once we saw Merge and they've already done all that work, working with the partners, working with those APIs, we just need to go in and almost flip a switch to enable those 30 plus HR systems. So that's what we did. And once you do that, maybe not every single field you need as a unique situation like in compliance. If I was a financial payroll company, I might need different information from the HR system than we need from compliance. And so sometimes we need to map specific data. And again, if you were building this in-house, you would have to go do that very uniquely for each customer integration. But in Merge, it makes it really easy where there's a interface. And again, almost even a non-technical person could say, okay, I need this field, map it to that field, kind of like an if this then that kind of situation. And field mapping, we see this type of capability in tools like Okta and others. So it's made it really easy to do all these integrations. And while there's always going to be issues, what happens is, a new person comes in and says, I don't know what this integration is, I'm going to kill this key from a security perspective, or something expires, or whatever happens, and these integrations break, and it happens way more than you think. If you've ever used any of those like financial systems and you get, from Mint or something and it's like, go reconnect your bank, right? So what happens though? And I'm a customer and it's like, hey, my HR data isn't pulling anymore. Drata, what's going on? So now our solution architects, sometimes engineers, can go in and see the Merge integration interface and really understand the raw detail of what's going on and make the quick, easy decision on working with the customer, say, hey, rotate your key, or maybe there was an issue, in the code, and we can resolve it really, really quick. And back to the outcomes. All right, so what happened is we were able to save just tons and tons of engineering hours. What was weeks or months is now kind of like a sprint, like no big deal. Like, hey, we need to go do this integration. All right, let me just go flip on the switch, test it, let's make it live. Usually a team can do that in a sprint or less now. Even in the beginning when we were doing HR systems, we already had a pattern, so that was easy. Now we wanted to go to ticketing. Okay, maybe the first one and the back and forth and figuring it out took a sprint, maybe 2. Now to go unlock the other, dozen or 20 more, it's very, very quick. So that was great, tons of saving times. a lot of revenue was unlocked. As we work with tons and tons of customers, Drata, we have over 6,000 customers. You could imagine the wide array of HR tools, ticketing tools, identity providers, CRMs they use, all that is, it was like, hey, I want to use Drata, but you don't integrate with this. Okay, let me add it to the list. I'll go work with engineering. But the more and more those come out, you're losing opportunity to close those and move those deals quickly. So the more and more integrations you can have that align to your customers' needs, the more revenue that we've unlocked. And the customer satisfaction just has been off the charts. They don't know behind the scenes we're using Merge. Well, maybe that's not true if they're a sub-processor bars, so if you really paid attention, you could see that. But for the most part, it's like, oh, Drata built all these. So we have over 1,300 connections managed by Merge across our customer fleet, and that's increased our NRR across these businesses as they've grown, added more services from Drata, added more integrations, and it's kind of a win-win for everyone.
Cool, awesome. So if you're interested in learning more about both Merge and Drata, here are booth numbers. So you can go to booth 2363 if you're interested in learning more. You can also just scan and book a demo immediately. If you're also interested in learning more about Drata, you can go to booth 2358, actually right across, so it's not too far if you want to check us both out. You can also scan the QR code right there as well. Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. We really appreciate it. Also appreciate the 5 other people that joined the talk, too, as we were going through. Really appreciate it. All right. Thanks, guys.